ありゃ剣の絵飾りが光ってんだ。
おお、怪しい。
相当手強いって話だろ。
Welcome back to Vinland Saga Season 2. Jumping right in, we start off episode 13 with the terrifying sight. In the midst of a raging inferno, an escaped slave stands tall, holding a blood-stained sword. Having just dispatched several individuals, the slave's master falls to his knees, desperately pleading for mercy. He promises to grant the slave freedom and riches beyond measure. However, the slave rebuffs those hollow promises, insisting that no amount of money can erase the pain and indignity he has suffered. Undeterred, the master offers to become the slave's servant, even going so far as to kiss his boots in a desperate bid for salvation. The slave, now in complete control, reminds the master that he holds the power of life and death in his hands. With a cold and calculating glare, the slave ruthlessly executes his former owner, a cruel smile on his face. Emerging from the blazing inferno, the slave comes across a woman clutching a child. Despite his ruthless nature, he spares their lives and instead sets his sights on a new target, vowing to capture her. Before we continue, take a moment to answer the question of the day. Who is the best sword user in all of anime? Comment down below and get 4 replies to have a chance to be shouted out in the next video. As they make their way towards Sverkel's house, Einar begins to contemplate their relationship with Sverkel. He realizes that borrowing tools from him might not be an option for much longer. Just then, Thorfinn interrupts his thoughts with a question about Einar's future plans. Einar confesses that he's never had the chance to make his own decisions before, and even now as a free man, he's struggling to find his place in the world. Thorfinn suggests that Einar consider staying on the farm, given Ketil's recent proposal. However, Einar is hesitant because he knows that they aren't well liked by the other retainers. Nevertheless, he sees an opportunity to potentially free Arnheid if he stays. The conversation is interrupted by Snake, who bursts out of the house, complaining about being hungry and wondering where Sverkel is. Snake informs them that Sverkel hasn't returned since he left in the morning. As the realization sets in that something may have happened to Sverkel, they all begin to worry. As Snake rushes to his horse, urging Einar and Thorfinn to follow him, they can't help but feel a sense of urgency. They race towards the farm, wondering what they will find when they arrive. Their hearts race as they look for any sign of Sverkel. Finally, Snake spots him lying on the ground. Sverkel, despite being bedridden, is still very much alive. As he lays in his bed, he tries to quench his thirst but accidentally shatters the glass in the process. Frustrated at his own clumsiness, he laments the fact that he won't be able to die on his beloved farm. However, his mood changes when Arnheid arrives, sent by the mistress to care for him. She whips up a delicious meal, leaving Snake, Einar, and Thorfinn speechless at the sight of all the food. Einar wonders if there's enough for them too, but Arnheid assures them that Sverkel had asked her to cook for them as well. Without hesitation, the 3 companions start chowing down on the food in front of them, much to Sverkel's chagrin. But Arnheid knows just how to handle the stubborn old man. She informs him that she'll be taking care of him from now on and won't be leaving his side. Despite his protestations that he's not hungry, Sverkel's stomach growls, betraying his true feelings. The group can't help but laugh at the sound, which only serves to irritate Sverkel more. Snake, always the practical one, urges Arnheid to feed him regardless, insisting that Sverkel is just too embarrassed to eat. Sverkel remains stubborn, trying to shoo everyone away. After a delicious dinner, Einar eagerly assists Arnheid with the chore of washing the dishes. As they work together, Arnheid opens up about her thoughts on Sverkel, expressing relief that he seems to be better than his reputation suggests. Einar agrees, acknowledging that while Sverkel can be intimidating at times, he truly has a good heart. As they continue to chat, Arenheid remarks on how much she enjoyed the meal, admitting that it has been quite some time since she had this much fun. She feels a sense of liberation wash over her, as if a weight has been lifted from her shoulders. As Fox appears on the scene, Snake's attention is immediately piqued. It turns out that Fox has some news to share, and it's not something that Snake was expecting. According to Fox, a runaway slave has been causing some trouble lately. The slave, who escaped from Kjaliker's farm 3 days ago, is the subject of much discussion in the town. Snake listens intently as Fox continues with the details. As it turns out, Kjaliker is not exactly known for treating his slaves well, and Snake can't help but feel a sense of schadenfreude at the news. However, his mood quickly turns somber as Fox reveals that the slave in question has gone too far. Not only did he kill Kjaliker and his son, but he also set their house on fire. As Fox goes on to explain that Kjaliker's uncle is offering a handsome reward for the capture of the slave, 3 horses, no less. Snake can't help but feel a little bit conflicted. He doesn't care much for the horses, but he knows that they need to be cautious if they want to catch the runaway. After all, this is not a situation to be taken lightly. Snake advises Fox to be careful and not to try too hard to catch the slave if they happen to spot him. Instead, he suggests calling for reinforcements right away. As Fox, Badger, and Lizard venture deeper into the forest, they stumble upon a man leaning against a tree. At first, they observe him from a distance, but as they approach closer, they notice that he's carrying a sword and looks quite suspicious. Badger and Lizard start to get excited, hoping that this might be the elusive slave they have been tracking and that they'll finally get their hands on the reward. Despite Fox's attempts to caution them and to speak quietly, the two start to argue in loud voices about whether to call for reinforcements or not. They're worried that more people will mean less of a share for them. Their heated debate grows louder and louder, causing the man to stir from his slumber. Suddenly, he springs to life and attacks them. As Arenheid diligently tackles the laundry and Einar methodically chops wood, a casual conversation is sparked between them. Einar, seeking more wood for the fire, politely asks Thorfinn to assist. However, Thorfinn hesitates and requests a moment's delay. Curious, Arenheid wonders what Thorfinn could be up to. Einar proceeds to explain that Thorfinn is eavesdropping on Snake, who is reading the Bible to Sverkel. Despite not being a Christian himself, Thorfinn seems intrigued and captivated by the scriptures. As the reading continues, Sverkel's restlessness becomes apparent as he falls off the bed in an attempt to join the others in the harvest. However, Snake carefully lifts him up and reminds him that the harvest is already complete. A troubling discovery is made as Snake notices that Sverkel has wet himself, leading him to summon Arenheid for assistance. As Arenheid dutifully tends to Sverkel's needs, Snake takes on the opportunity to wash his hands and share some important insights with Einar and Thorfinn. Snake reveals that Sverkel's condition is rapidly deteriorating as he becomes more and more senile. With his legs no longer able to support him, Sverkel's time on this earth is limited. Snake implores Einar and Thorfinn to cherish the time they have left with him and repay his kindness. Inquisitive, Thorfinn can't resist the urge to ask Snake about his relationship with Sverkel, but Snake brushes it off as nothing out of the ordinary. He reveals that his plans involve inheriting and selling the book once Sverkel passes away. As everyone diligently continues with their work, Snake suddenly catches sight of a person on horseback, riding towards them with great speed. However, upon closer inspection, he realizes that the rider is not one of his trusted men. In a matter of moments, both Fox and an injured Badger come into view, with Fox urgently shouting at Snake that the rider is the same slave who brutally murdered their friend, Lizard. In response, Snake quickly rushes inside to grab his sword, determined to confront the perpetrator. As Snake prepares for battle, Arenheid's keen eye recognizes the slave as none other than Garter. Without hesitation, she calls out his name, prompting Garter to stop in his tracks and lock eyes with his wife. What will we discover next? Find out on our next recap of Vinland Saga Season 2.